Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. And today we're venturing into a world that's honestly a little bit unnerving, a little bit like stepping into the shadows.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking cryptocurrency, but specifically the dark side of it,
Mm-hmm.
the scams, the heists, and in the midst of all that, a vigilante who's kind of become a legend in that space.
Yeah, it's a world that's so often, shrouded in anonymity, right? You hear about vast sums of money vanishing seemingly into thin air, and tracing the people behind it can feel like chasing ghosts.
Right.
But that's where ZachXBT comes in.
Exactly, ZachXBT. So you've probably seen those headlines, those Bitcoin heists, the NFT scams all over the news.
Mm-hmm.
But ZachXBT doesn't just report on this stuff.
Right.
This is a digital detective meticulously piecing together clues from the blockchain, like exposing these scammers and even helping victims recover millions.
What's really fascinating about ZachXBT is that he isn't part of like a big government agency or some cybersecurity firm.
Right.
This is essentially a one-man operation and fiercely protective of his real identity.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. Why all the secrecy? Is it a safety thing? Worried about retaliation from the people he's exposing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. He's taking on some pretty powerful adversaries, individuals, organized groups who are making a lot of money off of their illicit activities.
Right.
And this world of crypto crime, it can be ruthless.
That makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
So how did he even get started on this path? It's not like he just woke up one day and was like, I'm going to be a crypto crime fighter.
Well, that's where the story gets really intriguing, because ZachXBT himself was a victim of crypto scams early on.
Really?
Yeah, he lost, a significant amount of money, and it gave him that firsthand understanding of the tactics used and the devastating impact these crimes can have on people.
So his own personal experience kind of fueled this mission.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you go from being scammed to becoming this expert at tracking down these cybercriminals?
It's classic turning adversity into a superpower. He became obsessed with understanding how these scams work, and he started digging deep into the blockchain, those public ledgers that record every single cryptocurrency transaction.
Yeah, and the blockchain is notoriously complex. How did he even know where to begin?
That's where his skills come into play. He essentially taught himself how to analyze that blockchain data, looking for patterns, tracing money flows, identifying the individuals or groups behind these really elaborate schemes.
So it's not just about cryptocurrency, it's about understanding how criminals are exploiting it.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of those early cases that he tackled?
His initial focus was on exposing those shady NFT projects, particularly those pump and dump schemes that were so rampant for a while.
Yeah.
So for those who aren't familiar with that tactic, imagine a group artificially inflating the price of an asset, like an NFT,
Okay.
through all this coordinated hype and misleading promotion. And then when unsuspecting investors rush in to buy, they dump their holdings.
Oh, so they make off with the money and...
Exactly. The price crashes, and those victims are left holding worthless tokens.
Oh, wow. Okay, so ZachXBT was trying to protect people from falling for these scams.
Right.
But could he actually stop them?
I mean, he made a dent for sure by analyzing the blockchain. He could pinpoint the wallets of those involved
Right.
and expose their tactics publicly. And it brought some transparency, some accountability to a space that was, very much the Wild West at the time.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive for a one-man show. But I'm guessing these early investigations had their limitations.
Definitely. I mean, while he could expose these scams and potentially prevent some people from losing money, there wasn't a lot he could do to bring those perpetrators to justice.
Right, there's no arrest, no consequences, really.
Not at that point, no.
So how did he shift from exposing these scams to taking down cybercriminals?
That's where his skills and his reputation start to evolve, and he begins tackling more complex cases, things like hackers hijacking Twitter accounts for phishing attacks.
And phishing attacks, those are designed to, trick people into giving up their passwords, their crypto wallets, and all that, right?
Exactly. Imagine a hacker takes over a prominent figure's Twitter account, a celebrity, or a crypto influencer. They start sending out messages, pretending to be that person, offer some sort of giveaway or investment opportunity, and those who fall for it give up their login credentials. Their wallets are drained.
Oh, wow. Okay, so how would he even begin to, unravel something like that?
It took some creativity. He started combining his blockchain analysis with intel gathered from underground crypto communities,
Oh.
tracking stolen funds, identifying hackers' wallets, and in some cases, even working with law enforcement to help them build a case.
So this is where the work starts to have some real-world consequences.
Yeah.
Didn't he play a role in recovering that diamond-encrusted watch?
He did. That watch belonged to a hacker that ZachXBT helped expose, ultimately leading to the FBI seizing a whole bunch of assets.
Okay, now we're talking. But
Yeah.
that's just a taste of what this guy's capable of.
Right.
He goes on to tackle even bigger cases. Investigations that would make a Hollywood screenwriter drool.
The one that really put him on the map, cemented his status as this crypto crime-fighting legend, involved a heist of epic proportions.
All right, you got my attention. The $243 million heist, right. The one where he's literally on a plane when it all goes down.
That's the one. And the story of how he uncovered those culprits, traced the stolen funds, and helped bring them to justice is mind-blowing.
Well, let's not keep our listeners in suspense any longer. Let's dive into the details of this incredible case.
So picture this ZachXBT. He's settling into his seat on this long-haul flight, probably thinking about, catching up on some sleep or reading when his phone starts buzzing with these alerts. But these aren't just your average notifications. These are signaling massive suspicious Bitcoin transfers.
So he's about to be cut off from the internet, trapped on this plane.
Right.
And in the middle of all of this, he stumbles upon what could be one of the biggest crypto thefts ever.
Talk about bad timing. It was more than just bad timing, though. It was a race against time.
Oh.
He had to act fast before that plane's Wi-Fi went dark. So he starts tracing the funds following those digital breadcrumbs through various Bitcoin addresses. It was like a high-tech game of hide-and-seek, except the stakes were incredibly high.
Yeah, this is where that blockchain analysis expertise comes in, right?
Exactly.
He's not just looking at numbers, he's looking for patterns, anomalies, anything that might point him in the right direction.
He had to sift through this mountain of data, trying to untangle this complex web of transactions before his connection was lost, and what he discovered was shocking. Someone had stolen a staggering $243 million worth of Bitcoin from a single individual.
What?
We're talking massive haul of crypto that hadn't been touched since 2012, suddenly being moved and liquidated through all these shady exchanges.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. So he figures all of this out while he's still in the air. What happens next?
As soon as he lands and had internet access again, he went into overdrive. He spent the next few days meticulously following the trail of stolen Bitcoin as it was moved through various exchanges and coin mixing services.
And coin mixing services, that's to like obscure the origin and destination of the funds, right?
Exactly. Make it harder to trace. But ZachXBT was relentless.
So he's playing this game of cat and mouse with these cybercriminals, except it's all happening in the digital realm. Did he have any leads to go on?
Well, he had a few starting points. Remember those 3 main threads of stolen funds he was following?
Right.
Well, those led him to 3 individuals who were living anything but discreet lives.
Okay, I'm picturing like, those stereotypical Hollywood hacker scenes, dark rooms, piles of computer equipment.
Not quite. These guys were living the high life, flaunting their newfound wealth. For all to see, ZachXBT identified 2 of them as Malone Lamb, who went by Greavies online, and Jean-Diel Serrano, known as Box, and their social media posts. It was a catalog of extravagance.
So they went full-on Wolf of Wall Street with their stolen crypto. Give us the juicy details.
Oh, especially Lamb. He was living large in Miami, showing off his luxury real estate, a fleet of high-end sports cars.
Oh, wow.
Including a Lamborghini Revuelto and a Pagani Huayra, which, by the way, costs millions of dollars. There were even pictures of him showering influencers with Birkin and Frey's bags worth tens of thousands each.
So he's basically bragging about his ill-gotten gains on social media. That seems incredibly reckless.
You would think so, right? But it's a pattern you see sometimes in these cases, a combination of arrogance and maybe a belief that they're untouchable because they're operating in this digital world.
Right.
But ZachXBT had other plans.
So how did he connect all of this extravagant spending back to the actual crypto heist? Was it just a hunch based on the timing?
It was more than just a hunch. Remember that mysterious informant who messaged ZachXBT after his initial post on X about the theft?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that person came through with a piece of evidence that was crucial to cracking this case. A 90-minute video of a screen share between the 3 hackers.
Wait, there's actual video footage of them discussing the theft. How did he get his hands on that?
It seems one of the hackers accidentally reshared his screen with another group of friends online.
No.
And one of them had the foresight to record it. Talk about a stroke of luck.
Wow, that's incredible. So what was on this video? Did they confess to the crime?
In a way, yes. The hackers were so caught up in their success that they let their guard down. They referred to each other by their real names, and one of them even flashed his Windows home screen, revealing his last name.
Oh, no, they basically handed him their identities on a silver platter.
Pretty much. And the video captured their reactions to successfully pulling off this massive heist. There's a moment where one of them shouts, oh my God, $243 million. Yes, I'm going to spaz out. Yo, we're done. We're done. I'm spazzing out. Do you know how much money that is?
That's wild.
It's a chilling mix of excitement and, well, naivete.
Okay, that is both amazing and a little bit disturbing. So ZachXBT has the identities, he has the video evidence. What does he do next? Does he confront them directly?
He took a more strategic approach. Remember, he'd been collaborating with law enforcement throughout this entire investigation,
Right.
sharing his findings and giving them the pieces of the puzzle they needed to build a solid case.
So he's not just a vigilante operating in the shadows. He's working within the system to bring these criminals to justice. What happened next? Did they manage to track down these guys?
Just a month after that fateful plane ride where it all started, law enforcement agencies swooped in. Malone Lamb was arrested in Miami at his luxurious waterfront rental, which he was paying a cool $68,000 a month for.
Wow.
Jandil Serrano was apprehended at the Los Angeles airport, fresh off a vacation in the Maldives with his girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
He was even wearing a $500,000 watch at the time of his arrest.
Wow, talk about a fall from grace. But what about the stolen Bitcoin? Did they recover any of it?
Thankfully, yes, authorities were able to seize or freeze a significant portion of the stolen funds, somewhere around $79 million.
No.
They're still working on tracking down the rest, which is estimated to be over $100 million, even after the hackers' lavish spending sprees.
It's amazing that they were able to recover that much, but you mentioned there were 3 suspects, right?
Yes.
What about the third one? Did he manage to slip through the cracks?
That's where things get a little more complicated so far. The third suspect hasn't been officially charged with any crime. However, there's a curious twist that surfaced around the same time as the arrests. A criminal complaint detailed a carjacking incident in Connecticut just days after the $243 million heist.
Wait, a carjacking? What does that have to do with this crypto case?
According to the complaint, a group of men carjacked a couple in their 50s who were driving, of all things, a Lamborghini. The carjackers apparently believed that the couple's son had access to a large amount of cryptocurrency.
So they targeted the wrong people thinking they were connected to this crypto heist. That's a bizarre twist.
It is, and some people believe that the son in question might actually be that third suspect ZachXBT identified. It's certainly an intriguing possibility.
It sounds like something straight out of a movie. So after all this, after exposing scammers, recovering millions, helping bring down these high-rolling cybercriminals, what's next for ZachXBT? Is he taking a well-deserved break?
Well, this case was a bit of a turning point for him. It marked the first time he was officially retained by a victim and paid for his investigative services. Up until this point, he'd been operating mostly on donations and fueled by a sense of justice.
So does this mean he's going to become like a full-fledged crypto detective for hire?
He's hinted at the possibility of taking on more paid work, perhaps even starting his own investigative firm. But one thing is clear. ZachXBT's primary motivation isn't money. He's driven by a deep desire to make the crypto world a safer place, holding criminals accountable and helping victims recover what was stolen from them.
It's really inspiring to see someone making such a tangible impact in a space that's often seen as the Wild West. But let's be honest, is ZachXBT a hero, a vigilante, or something in between?
That's a question that sparks a lot of debate, and it's something we'll definitely delve into further.
You know, it's fascinating to think about his approach operating outside, like the typical structures of law enforcement. Does his success point to a new model for fighting cybercrime? One where individuals can leverage technology and expertise to achieve what large institutions might struggle with?
It's a really complex question, and ZachXBT's work definitely highlights that potential for individuals to make a significant impact. I mean, he's not bound by the same bureaucracy or limitations that can sometimes hinder traditional law enforcement agencies, right?
Right.
It allows him to be so agile, adapting quickly to this ever-evolving landscape of crypto crime.
Yeah, it's almost like he's a modern-day Robin Hood, but instead of stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, he's exposing them and helping return those stolen funds to the rightful owners. And he does it all while maintaining this air of mystery, shrouding his identity in that digital mask.
And that anonymity is crucial for his safety and his effectiveness. I mean, remember, he's going up against some powerful and potentially dangerous individuals and organizations. Protecting his real identity allows him to continue his work without fear of reprisal and maintain that trust of his sources within the crypto community.
Yeah, it's almost as if he's become this mythical figure in the crypto world, like a symbol of justice and accountability, and his work has demonstrably sent shockwaves through the criminal underworld.
Absolutely. I mean, ZachXBT's investigations have led to numerous arrests, the recovery of hundreds of millions of dollars in stolen funds, and the exposure of sophisticated hacking groups, even those linked to nation-states like North Korea.
Oh.
It's a remarkable track record for someone operating independently, largely relying on donations and sheer determination.
It begs the question, what is it about his approach that's been so effective? Is it his technical prowess, his investigative instincts, or maybe a combination of both?
It's likely a mix of several factors, right? He possesses this deep understanding of blockchain technology and those intricacies of cryptocurrency transactions, but he also demonstrates this keen sense of how criminals are exploiting this technology,
Right.
identifying those vulnerabilities and following the money trail even when it's deliberately obscured.
And let's not forget his dedication. I mean, this isn't a 9-to-5 job for him. It's a relentless pursuit of justice, fueled by this desire to hold these criminals accountable and make the crypto space safer for everyone.
Exactly. And beyond solving individual cases, ZachXBT's work is having this ripple effect. He's raising awareness about the prevalence of crypto scams, educating the public about the risks involved, and advocating for greater transparency and accountability within the industry.
Yeah, he's changing the game, not just through his investigations, but also by shining a light on the vulnerabilities of the system and pushing for improvements.
Exactly. And this brings us back to that question we posed earlier. Is ZachXBT a hero, a vigilante, or something in between? It's a topic that sparks a lot of debate, especially as his profile continues to rise.
Yeah, and on one hand, he's providing this vital service, exposing criminal activity that might otherwise go unnoticed in helping victims seek justice. But on the other hand, he's operating outside the traditional legal framework, which raises concerns about due process and the potential for overreach.
Yeah, it's a complex issue with no easy answers. But one thing is certain. ZachXBT's work has forced us to grapple with the evolving nature of crime in the digital age and the role individuals can play in combating it. He's shown that even in this seemingly anonymous world of cryptocurrency, there can be accountability. And sometimes it takes a lone individual driven by a strong sense of justice and armed with the right tools to make a real difference.
It's been a truly captivating deep dive into the world of ZachXBT, a world where cutting-edge technology intersects with old-fashioned detective work, and where the lines between hero and vigilante are often blurred. What stands out to you most from this incredible story?
For me, it's the reminder that the pursuit of justice can take many forms, and in this fast-paced, ever-changing landscape of the digital world, sometimes it requires individuals like ZachXBT to step up and challenge the status quo, holding those in power accountable and fighting for a more equitable and secure future for all of us.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us, Infaq.